well, then 2 is a lonely.
Steve, how about smoke?
Well, Mike, what they noticed when Tony stopped to get fuel only was he had a considerable amount of oil on the front bumper of his car. Now, he has been pushing Paul Menard. Paul Menard, of course, is Kevin Harvick's teammate. So I'll bet you the 14 is going to look for a different drafting partner there. They think that the 27 may have an engine problem just like his teammate did.
And just remember, Steve, that's another ECR engine. In fact, there were 9 of those engines that started this Daytona 500.
Coming to green with Clint Boyer leading the Daytona 500. Another Richard Childress car. Regan Smith behind. And on the outside, Kurt Busch with Brian Keselowski. That's Brad's older brother outside in that white car, number 92. They came down here with 1 car, 1 engine, and 1 set of tires. They made the race. They picked up a sponsor. Ray Evernham said, I'll pay your tire bill. Penske offered him an engine that they couldn't use because it was too new to fit in their car, but he's in the 500.
Yeah, actually the crowd from home, Save My Fairgrounds, sent a little money down to get their name on Brian's car. So picked up a little bit here and there, but that discount tire is probably paying some pretty good bills for him right now.
Jamie McMurray, proud new dad of son Carter and the defending 500 champion. He's got the lead with Montoya behind him, and they're 3 wide to the stripe again. Who's going to lead this lap? Boyer.
That 88 car, Larry, he just keeps inching closer to the lead, and we will know without a doubt when he takes it.
Junior Nation will let us know.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Busch and Regan Smith going backwards in the high lane. Here comes Jeff Burton with Brad Keselowski on the bottom, the 31 and the 2.
Just remember, Dale Earnhardt Jr., through virtue of starting this race at the back of the field in 27 laps with 3 cautions, he's worked his way right there into the top 2.
Yeah, this, if you got to start in the back, it's not a bad place to have to do it. Always got the chance to draft your way right to the front, and that's what he's done.
9 different drivers have led this Daytona 500 as Boyer hauls them around for a second time. McMurray and Montoya, and 2 fast forwards right behind them. David Reagan in the 6 and rookie Trevor Bayne in the 21 of the Wood brothers.
And just remember, David Reagan in that 6 car, that's a backup car that had to start at the rear of the field as well.
Riding with Mark Martin.
Looks pretty easy, doesn't it?
We know better.
Think you could drive a car, folks, at home 200 miles an hour?
Closer together than most people park.
Yeah, 200 miles an hour with somebody pushing.
Trouble, turn 3.
Big wreck.
Brian Keselowski, David Rudiman, Michael Waltrip, Matt Kenseth,
big
and
wreck.
half the field.
I see about 3 of the Hendrick cars there that's involved.
Mark Martin is there. I see him. There's a Biffle. Jimmy Johnson's laying over there. There's a 24 car. Looks pretty bad.
Brian Vickers limping around. And Mark Martin is part of it. Greg Biffle got a piece of it. Joe Nemechek's right front all torn up. The 9 of Marcus Ambrose.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened here, Larry. They're running awfully close together.
Watch the top right of your screen coming
right up
in.
Here.
Michael into his teammate Rudiman.
Got Rudiman loose.
Right in front of Keselowski. Here comes Nemechek. Pow into Michael.
Look at, nope, didn't make it. Didn't make it.
Brian Keselowski, we just talked about, was involved. That white car up against the wall there.
There's Mark Martin down here, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. My. Let's see if we can see anything. Well, there's not a whole lot to see. Michael just got into the back of the. Tony Stewart did the same thing to Michael in the Bud shootout. Got into him pretty hard and turned him around right there and got Michael with it.
And Darrell, everybody was going to the apron, but those cars sliding off 31 degrees of banking, that's where they're going to end up.
It's kind of an old saying down here, what goes down must come up. And you try to go around on the outside if you can.
Jimmy Johnson's 48 just barely got into the back of Matt Kenseth to do enough damage to the right front.
The old Aaron Stream machine, she's done.
Marcus Ambrose is going to the garage for repair. Michael Waltrip's car comes steaming toward the garage.
Brian Vickers in the 83 car gets a lot of damage. Marcus Ambrose in the 9.
Look at that. 3 Hendry cars, 24, 48, and 5, all slamming into each other.
Back it down, back it down, back it down. Come on. Still coming. We're the front end over here, guys. We're here to the right side.
And now ride with Mark Martin.
Still 3 in front of you. Get down if you can. Get back up. Get back up. 9 car is front us. Stage 3 is in the door.
And Jeff Gordon's view.
22 right in front of us. Right in front of us. Check it up. Check up. Check up. Check up. Check up. Check up. Get up.
Jimmy Johnson.
Side 2 wide in front of you, in front of you, in front of you. Correct.
Dick Bergeron is with David Rudiman.
Well, whose fault was that?
I don't know. It's a product of this kind of racing. Mike was pushing me, and I don't think when I anticipated the guys moving up in front of us as quick as I did, and it's not Mike's fault. I just probably didn't get on the radio quick enough to give him a heads up. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's pushing. That's all you can do when you're behind, and you can't see. You got to rely on the guy in front of you to help you. And I was probably a little slow on the draw there, giving him the heads up what was going on in front of us, and here we are.
Crew going to be able to get this back out on the racetrack, David?
It'll be a miracle.
Okay, miracles sometimes happen in the Daytona 500.
Jeff Gordon is in the garage. 3 of the 4 Rick Hendrick cars, all but Dale Jr. have gone to the garage. 2 of the 3 Michael Waltrip cars involved. Defending series champ Jimmy Johnson in the garage as well. Greg Biffle has also gone to the garage. You can make light repairs on pit road, but if major work is needed, the cars have to go behind the wall or back to their garage stall.
And Darrell and them talked about it in the pre-race. This new point system, it's going to take longer to overcome a bad finish, I think, than it did with the old system.
And don't forget, you got to be able to run the minimum speed, so you got to have the car in pretty good shape to run minimum speed.
A grinding crash puts us under caution for the 4th time in Daytona.
The Daytona 500 on Fox is delivered by Pizza Hut. Rev it up with all your favorite pizzas at low prices. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut. Glad you're watching the Daytona 500 on Fox, and an action-packed 45 minutes of activity here. At least 15 cars involved in the latest crash, including some of the headliners here in the 53rd running of the Great American Race. In the first 5 laps, we had 5 lead changes. Overall, there have been 10 different leaders. Pit road is open. Junior is in. Kurt Busch is in. Let's check down on the pits with Matt Yoakum.
Chris, the guy who's taken all the money so far during Speedway, Kurt Busch in the Double Deuce. He slides to a stop. He goes over the line. Mistake for Busch. They're going to have to back him up and then continue on with the stop. 4 tires for the Double Deuce. Krista.
Dale Jr. was told by his crew chief, Steve Letarte, things usually get conservative after a big wreck like that. Dale Jr. said, I sure hope so. 4 tires for Dale.
Our AT&T race break bringing you this update. And you can tell us your favorite by texting the car number to the pit crew you think will be the fastest in today's race to 234-567. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew Award brought to you by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. And let's check in with Steve Burns, who is standing by with Jeff Gordon.
Thank you, Chris. Wild scene down here. Mechanics running from all parts of pit road. And Jeff, I know you've assessed all 4 corners of your race car. Discuss the damage.
Well, it doesn't really matter at this point. Our chances to win the Daytona 500 are over. That's the disappointing part. This drive to En Hunger Chevrolet was really fast. Got hooked up with Trevor Bayne again. Had some help from Casey Kane there at the beginning, so we were having a lot of fun. You know, I totally get the two-car drafting, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of it. What I don't quite understand is why guys are doing it 3 wide, 3 deep, running for 28. You know, we need to, they need to let it thin out a little bit. As soon as it thins out, then go to it, you know, and it can be very safe and pretty harms-free. But, you know, you're sitting there, like right there, I was just sitting back there just kind of riding along there, just waiting for it to thin out. And I probably should have waited even further back. But, you know, you see them, and they're pushing and shoving up the middle, down the back straightaway, and you're like, what are they doing, you know? And you can understand those guys in the first 2 or 3 rows, you know, go ahead. They're going to go out there and do it. But anyway, that's disappointing. It's going to be a heck of a race to watch. I think the finish is going to be unbelievable. We're going to see a lot more of what we just saw. It's hot, a little slicker today. The cars aren't sticking quite as good as they were the other day. Unfortunately for us, the damages are that it's going to take a while for us to get it fixed, and we'll get back out there and get as many laps in as we can.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
With Marcos Ambrose, and behind him, the crew has brought an entire new nose, fenders, hood, front grille. Can they get this thing back into the race?
Yeah, we'll get it back going again. These Stanley Guides fantastic, but just a terrible way to start our season. You know, in the duel, I kind of lost the draft. I didn't have a playing partner. I was so worried about it then. I just was pushing forward, trying to be safe, and you get caught up in the mess. But, you know, it's just what it is. Everyone's trying to work out how this race is going to be run, and unfortunately, didn't end too well for us.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Thanks, Dick. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year is back. Last season, Jeff Gordon and that 24 pit crew repeated as winners of the award. On behalf of the crew, AT&T donated $25,000 to the Victory Junction Game Camp organization. You can text who you think will win this one to 234-567. Speaking of Jeff Gordon, remember he came in with a winless streak of 65. So an upsetting day for him here, Mike, at the Daytona 500.